Welcome to another episode of Frugal Finance, everybody. Today we're going to look at a reaction video, so something a little different. We're going to react to Graham Stephan's "I'm pulling out of the real estate market." Why is he doing that? So, whilst we're here, if you could like and hit the subscribe button, that will help the channel grow and get the video out to more and more people. Obviously, we're all stuck at home again now, so hopefully this makes for some good viewing for you. During this lockdown period, lockdown 3.0 or whatever you want to call it in the UK. But again, we're stuck at home, so let's make the most of it and catch up on some financial frugalness. So with that said, let's get stuck in and get on with the video.
What's up, Graham? It's Guys here. So you probably clicked on the video because...
Yeah, I did, to be honest. You are the real estate guy, after all.
you saw the title and wanted to see if it was clickbait. After all, for nearly my entire adult life, I've been known as the real estate guy. It's what I did right after high school, it's how I invested almost all of my money, and it's even how I started here on YouTube by making real estate videos. So on the surface, it doesn't make a lot of sense as to why the real estate guy is not buying real estate. Now, I'm sure there might be some assumptions out there.
I do like a little black and white cutaway scene. Thanks, Graham. I did take some inspiration from that.
That I must think the real estate market is about to come crashing down, or that maybe I know something that I'm choosing not to share with everybody. But I think if you just hear me out, you'll understand my point of view and how this makes sense, and dare I say it, maybe you'll even agree with me. Because this was not a spur-of-the-moment decision, and I'm gonna outline everything for you right here. But real quick, if there's one thing that I have not...
That reminds me, don't forget to smash the button for Graham's video, for my video, for all the videos. You've got to comment below, you've got to subscribe, you've got to smash that like button. I know he goes on about it and sometimes he comes across a little desperate, but really that is actually the only way that these videos get pumped to a new audience. Without that, then creators don't create, really, because the idea is that lots of people see it, lots of comments, lots of interaction and engagement.
Stop doing, it's smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. I know this might sound trivial to even mention it, but it does help my channel out a lot. It's really easy to do, and it takes you just a split second if you're logged in. In fact, I'm gonna even smash it with you right now. I'm going to my video and done. So thank you guys so much, and we'll begin right here. First, it's no surprise that I owe pretty much everything I have right now to, you guessed it, real estate. When I was 18 years old, I got my real estate license right after high school, and I began...
I do find it's weird that in America you need a real estate license, but you don't need one in the UK. I know there's a lot of talk about that. But yeah, it's interesting though, isn't it? I wonder, maybe in the future that will change here.
Working as a real estate agent. I saved up as much money as I could, and after a few years, I then began investing my money in real estate during one of the lowest points in the market. This was back in 2011 and 2012 when every other...
I do like a bit of investing back in 2011 and 12. A lot of my own investing started then, and I foresee that same opportunity is going to come up to a number of people this time around. I think there will be the same kind of gains and motivated sellers and bargains out there this time around. So, but it's not going to happen straight away. You've got to remember in 2008/9 was the financial crash. It took some time for these negative issues to arise and for people to reach foreclosure on their properties and lose their jobs and the knock-on effect to happen. So you need to be patient, obviously look for the deals, but don't leap at the first thing that comes along.
home on the market was a bank-owned foreclosure when very few people thought the market was going to fully recover, and coincidentally when prices were at their rock bottom. But I sunk everything I had into buying and fixing up rental properties so that I could have a consistent, predictable income every single month. It was so much fun. I loved being able to...
One thing with Graham is I noticed that he doesn't hardly ever do any of the fixing up himself. I'd like to see him have done that. I know he's a very busy man now, and I'm sure that's kind of what we come onto the video about, really. But I found myself that fixing and doing up a lot of the properties gave me a better understanding of what the issues were. So when a tenant rang up, I didn't automatically go for the contractor must come and fix it thing. I can repair the things a lot myself, and you know, having devoted a lot of my free time to refurbishing properties outside my normal day job, I believe that's given me a good insight into actually the time and effort these things take. So I appreciate he's gone past all of that now, but it would have been nice to have seen him do some of the things in an early stage. I mean, I'm not talking about painting a room or, you know, retiling a bathroom or something basic like that. I'm talking about learning how to, you know, fix electrical faults and, you know, fit kitchens and various more meaty things, really. And I appreciate it's not for everybody, but it would have been nice to have seen in his early videos, perhaps him getting his hands dirty.
Put my own personal touch on each place. I got so much personal satisfaction taking a spot that nobody wanted and turning it into a place that someone would be happy living in. And the challenge of finding a good deal was just too much for me to resist. So over time, my strategy evolved into a process of spending months scouring the market, trying to find the right home, trying to find something priced under market value or a hidden diamond in the rough that I could then fix up and subsequently rent out. Now usually once...
Yeah, it takes months. It takes lots of research. I would agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you can spend hours and hours on it, and just simply going to Rightmove and whacking in properties for sale in the last 24 hours is not going to cut the mustard, if I'm honest. You need to be looking at all avenues. You need to be looking at properties that have gone on there for a long time. You probably need to look at 50 before you put an offer in on one, and then that will get rejected. So it's a slow burner. I have a feeling that's why he's probably pulling out, but we'll see.
The property was fixed up and rented out, it became a fairly passive investment. But there was a lot of work involved prior to that took up a lot of time. For example, it would usually take me anywhere from 6 to 12 months looking through the market just to find one deal that actually makes sense to buy. During that process, there's a lot of offers that go out, a lot of them don't go through. But the one deal that goes through at the very end usually makes all the time spent on the others completely worth it. But then after I buy the property, it's another 3 to 16 weeks worth of renovations depending on how big the project is. I tried to be as actively involved in the process as I could, but that usually meant that I was going to the job site 1 to 2 times per day. I was going to and from Home Depot, and I was constantly haggling with contractors who would overbid and underdeliver. So it was a lot to manage between that and working full-time as a real estate agent.
Okay, so maybe I've gotten slightly wrong. He's obviously doing a lot of the running to and back to Home Depot, I think he said, or B&Q in the UK, or Screwfix or something like that, or Wix. So maybe his skill set level doesn't allow him to do those things, you know, kitchen refurbishments and that, which is fine. You know, I'm a strong believer if you can learn those skills, but maybe he thought his time was more useful doing that, really. Obviously, I suspect he probably had these channels and things to do, or a normal job back in those days. But yeah, he's obviously trying to be actively involved, maybe not quite to the level that I would like to be, but yeah, I'll take some of that back.
To pay for it all. However, over the last 10 years, I could absolutely unequivocally say that buying all that real estate and spending all that time doing it was 100% worth it. During that time, I've bought and held on to 8 properties. They're all rented out with tenants who love living there, and that income has provided me with a foundation that I could then build from. So what changed now? Well, a few things happened. But first, we should look at the current climate of the real estate market. First, interest rates are at their all-time historic lows. Now, typically, this would bode really well for real estate investors like myself, and I'll be honest, it has. I've been able to refinance my loans to a lower interest rate to save more money. I was able to get a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage at 2.875%, and at those levels,
See my other videos, this is probably what's pumping the UK housing.
long term, it's pretty much like banks are giving you free money to go and buy real estate with. But second, that comes at a cost. Because interest rates have become so inexpensive, it's driven up
30-year fixed rate mortgage. Easier for him to say. Why don't we do that in the UK? Why don't we have much longer terms? It would give much more stability. I'd all be for having, 1% interest rate locked in for 30 years. That would be brilliant. I know that will never happen, but, we can only dream.
So much so that it's caused inventory to drop to its lowest level again in history. That means fourth, when you combine low interest rates with low inventory and high demand, you get a market that's extremely difficult to find the types of deals that I like to buy. I want to buy something under market value that needs work in an area that demands a premium for.
It's like he's seen my other video or something. That's literally what I've just said earlier. But anyway, there you go. Pretty much the same thing, really. It's what's happening in America. It's supply and demand stuff, isn't it?
And I want to do all of that while getting the best bang for the buck for my renovations. The homes that I like to buy are the ones that I am so sure of that I never have to worry about not finding a tenant or not being equity positive the moment I close on a deal. Even if that means I pass up a dozen decent deals, I've always been the type who's just patient to find that one really good one that stands out above the rest. And that, of course, brings up my first problem. One, good deals are very difficult to come by. The reality is that it's not impossible to find something that makes sense to buy in today's market, but it's certainly a lot more difficult today than it was a year ago. It takes a lot more patience, a lot more searching, and a much higher cost to find something that really works. Not to mention, that might include buying out of state, depending on where you live. I've made a few videos over the last 2 years talking about the growth of cities like Phoenix, Arizona, Dallas, Texas, and Atlanta, Georgia, and how much those cities have appreciated. And I believe today, what it often takes to get a good deal is to expand your search.
I feel like we're building up to the time element. Very few good deals. Yeah, there are very few good deals, and they take a long time to find.
Radius beyond just your backyard. Now, two, this is something I really haven't talked much about here in the channel, but that would be the importance of diversification. For the last 10 years, I've invested nearly everything that I've saved into real estate. And for the longest time, that's made up almost the entirety of my portfolio. Now, sure, I've also been consistently investing in the S&P 500, but for the most part, that's only been a sliver compared to what I've been throwing into real estate. For me, it just made sense to buy real estate so I could have direct control over my money, I could force appreciation by fixing it up, I could get nearly guaranteed cash flow by renting it out, and best of all, I could depreciate that house against my taxes. By nearly all accounts,
Okay, I didn't see that coming. He's looking to diversify. Obviously, that's actually one of my goals for this year. If you want to see my goal setting video, please feel free to go to the channel, have a look around, you'll find it. Or if you want to type in Frugal Finance goal setting, you'll probably come up in there in the YouTube search bar. But yeah, diversification, so not having all your money into real estate or all of your eggs in one basket, as the phrase may go.
I could get a higher return from my leveraged real estate investments than I could from the stock market. So my thought was, may as well go for it. But after a while, as I started earning more money and those properties started going up in value, I realized I am way too heavy into real estate relative to the rest of my portfolio. Even though it was very profitable, I don't think it's that smart to hold 90% of your net worth in real estate in one city. I think it's just too big of a risk that something else could happen without having a hedge against that investment. Something like this never really clicked when I was younger because I just went for whatever would make me the most amount of money. But I think at a certain point, it becomes more important to try to preserve your wealth than try to grow it as fast as possible. And by diversifying away from real estate, it's given me a lot of peace of mind that just in the event something were to happen, I'll be totally okay. Now, three, another revelation that I've come to understand over the last year is the value of time. Listen, in my early 20s, my time was worth whatever I could get for it. Like, my thought was that in the evenings, if I wasn't doing anything, I may as well help out.
I think that's an important topic to touch on, or an important thing. When you're younger, you do tend to be a bit more risky, so obviously diversifying is possibly something you may look to do as you get a bit older. Obviously he's got 90% or whatever he said in his real estate and 10% into stocks or whatever he's got. Now he's looking to diversify because it's about not making sure all your eggs in one basket. But he has made his fortunes initially through real estate. So yeah, I see why he's now wanting to diversify and lessen his risk.
Another agent in my office for $10 an hour, whereas otherwise I would be making nothing. So in that context, I'd much rather earn $10 an hour than stay at home and watch TV. The same thinking also applies when I was renovating all of those properties. My thought was that if I spent my early mornings and late evenings managing a renovation, at the very least it would save me money from not hiring a manager. So by that metric, I would just take whatever I could possibly get for my off time. I did credit card churning, focus groups, renovations, work for other agents, literally whatever I could get. But now I've gotten to a point where I just don't have enough time in the day to get everything done.
I would say that is true. When you're young and motivated, or motivated whatsoever, your time is not as valuable, and you may choose to do these things in your evenings with it. I mean, you'll look at the top habits of most wealthy people. They don't tend to sit around watching reruns of Homes Under the Hammer or Home and Away or whatever it might be. What they will do is spend that time investing in themselves, or working on a side hustle, or doing something maybe not quite so intense as a 9-to-5 job where you're answering the telephone and it's constant. It might be working on a YouTube video whilst watching some telly in the background. They are being productive.
Even something like hopping on a 30-minute phone call has turned into I need to schedule this a few days in advance, because otherwise everything else is booked up and I would have to pull away from something else just to make the time. If I didn't prioritize everything this way, then nothing would get done and things would fall through the cracks. So now I have a value for my time, and I really have to ration it carefully. Because of that, I'm not able to spend the time like I used to find the right real estate deal and manage some.
Love a bit of credit card churning. Lots of information on those. How to balance transfer, pay down your debts and the rest of it. Again, have a look in the descriptions, type in Frugal Finance, how to pay debt down, that sort of stuff. Graham's got loads of videos on credit cards and stuff. Obviously they apply to the American market mostly, but the principles apply to the UK market as well.
The work myself. For me, and I think for most people, real estate is a phenomenal tool for wealth creation. There's pretty much no other investment out there that allows you to consistently double your money year after year by buying the right property and then fixing it up. Besides, of course, Tesla call options. And sure, it's not easy work, and it definitely takes a lot of time up front. But when done right, you could potentially build your wealth faster than nearly anything else. Again, besides Tesla call options. However, I think at a certain point, I had to take a step back and realize that I was too oriented towards real estate. And from a diversification standpoint, it makes sense to take a more hands-off approach and focus on other endeavors. This year, for example, I've invested $3 million into the stock market.
So what he's saying is he's made so much money from other investments and side hustles that he doesn't really have the time for searching the market and getting into the latest deals in terms of small properties and the rest of it. I don't know if he'll come onto it, but it's a bit of a shame really, because I would see Graham as he is the real estate guy, so it would have been nice to have seen him do some office to residential conversions, or maybe some small developments. They obviously do take time to find, but they're a lot more rewarding, and I would imagine that he's probably got the resources to do that now. He's obviously looking to diversify, so that is a key factor of that, but he could run the risk of perhaps diversifying so much that his real estate side of his business becomes small fry in the grand scheme of things. So he's probably got that to watch out for, I suspect.
I've made 3 angel investments, including Yada Bank, link down below in the description for anyone who wants to try that out. And I'm in the process of continuing to grow this channel and several other startups alongside with it. For now, the ROI I get from using my time elsewhere just makes a lot of sense, especially because I love continually learning new things, expanding on what I'm doing, and following where my heart goes. And right now, that's pointing me in the direction of running my own business. I've mentioned before that I have a coffee company in the works that I can't talk about quite yet, but just give me a month and you'll hear all about it. And I have another project I'm working on the side that, trust me, you guys will hear about it nonstop soon. And those are all things that I never would have had the...
Okay, well, clearly this guy's got some serious wonga in his back pocket if he's doing that sort of stuff, but that really, I suppose, kind of sums up why he probably doesn't have the time to hunt down those deals. I still don't think that should stop him doing real estate investment. He just should concentrate on bigger and better returns. Diversifying doesn't mean abandoning, so he should maybe just watch that as he goes forward, that he doesn't diversify so much that he's now not diversified.
opportunity to pursue in the first place if it were not for real estate. But given how much I'm juggling right now, going and buying new property needs to be put on the side. And even though I've happily labeled myself to be the real estate guy, at my core, my real passion is just being an entrepreneur. I love all aspects: business, investing, saving money, and personal finance. And real estate just happened to fall in one of those many faucets.
Well-being, obviously massively important. He's following where his heart is. He wants to run his own business. That's fine. He's got to do what he loves. He did love real estate. Maybe his mood has shifted. You know, I love real estate, but I actually like talking about it to you guys. So, you know, we're all entitled to make a shift, but again, he just needs to make sure he doesn't diversify too much that he becomes not diversified again. Hope that makes some sort of sense. Makes sense to me anyway.
This certainly is not meant to take away from the decade of experience I put in with real estate, but that has allowed me to shift my pursuits so I keep growing as a person. Today, my investment...
Did I just hear that he's working on a coffee shop? I hope he's going to not charge very much money for that.
Investments are really just all about a low time commitment, low risk, a low return, more diversification, and the allocation that will continue to allow it to grow, but at a slower, more consistent rate. It's less stress, less work, the less I have to think about, and the more I could just streamline my entire life. I say this not to discourage you from buying real estate, but instead to explain the importance of using real estate as a foundation to grow and build from. Everything I'm doing today is made possible because of real estate. But as my time has become more limited, and as I want to continue growing and expanding and diversifying into other things, combined with the market that makes it very difficult to find a good deal, I've chosen to hold off from buying any more real estate for right now. Now, I'm sure at some point I'm going to get back into it, but until then, I'm enjoying the hand.
I mean, I totally agree with all he's saying. I would say, obviously, he's got a lot of money now, so he needs to protect that and preserve his wealth. But there's a bit of me that thinks he is only in his early 30s. He perhaps doesn't need to be quite so defensive, but, you know, good on him for making sure that he is looking after his wealth. But yeah, I'm not sure low growth probably is on there. Low time and high growth maybe, but low growth, I don't know. But yeah, I see the principles of what he's trying to achieve here, but maybe a little bit ahead of his time.
Hands-off approach of investing, and I'm looking forward to all the new challenges that come along with growing a business alongside that. I think it's totally fine sacrificing some profit up front if that means that now I have more time left over to focus on other ventures that could do better long-term. Like, of course, asking you to smash the like button.
So I get what he's saying. He wants to diversify himself. He's looking at real estate or property investment as quite time consuming, which to be fair it is. But obviously growing a new business, whether it's a coffee shop or making angel investments into things, that's time consuming as well. And I would say probably just as risky, if not riskier. Sometimes it's stick to what you know, and other times you need to diversify. So I think he's doing well to try and get that juggling act in between. Maybe being a little bit too defensive, possibly, would be the only thing I could criticise. But yeah, he's got a lot of wealth, and he's looking to protect that. I mean, after all, how much money do you need? He's got millions now, so you know, at some point he's going to have to try and protect that and slow down a bit. So he's obviously making a conscious decision to do that now. Who am I to say what to do particularly? But yeah, I agree in principle with what he's trying to do here, but maybe playing it a little too safe in places. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. Obviously you can go watch the full video if you want to. You just search in the search bar for it from Graham. But yeah, if you like the video, please do press the like button, subscribe, try and get the channel out there to more people. Hope you like this style of video. It's a bit different to the others. We'll see what the reactions are to it. I mean, I know a lot of people like the reaction videos, but I'm only going to really do them on the financial side of things. But I thought this was interesting that he's sort of pulling out of real estate, really. So maybe we'll do more of these if you let me know. Anyway, if you could like and subscribe, I would be super appreciative. And and I will see you next time.